everyone. I'm Angie Bryant, and welcome to Tales of a New Witch. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about meditation and how I kind of got started with that and how it relates to witchcraft for me. Now, during the beginning, a year and a half ago, when I first started reading books about witchcraft and spirituality, I saw a reoccurring theme. Everybody seems to agree that a meditation practice is good for helping you to connect with your intuition. And your intuition, as we know, is that little feeling, tiny voice. People call it different things. Your gut feeling, your higher self, just that little radar that's embedded into your body that picks up on energy around you. So it can give you clues to whether something is maybe a good thing or maybe a bad thing. Things like that, right? As a society, we celebrate rational thinking over intuitive thinking, right? Rational thinking is supposed to be what you should do, right? All of your decisions should be made rationally. You should be able to explain how you got from point A to point B and why you chose this route or why you chose this thing. Show your process. But intuitive thinking is a little bit different, right? You can't prove why you have that feeling. You just have that feeling. Now, with meditation, or what I had been reading with meditation, is that, meditation can quiet your mind, which quieting your mind will help you to be more receptive to hearing that tiny little voice inside. That's your intuition. Like I said, since we're all born with intuition, we all have it. But over time, since we listen more and more to our rational mind, that voice becomes a bit harder and harder to tune into. Even when you do hear it, you're more likely to brush it aside and not listen to it, overthink things. You're rationalizing. That's pretty normal, common thing that people do, right? But intuition is a very powerful tool to have in witchcraft. So you want to try to learn how to focus back in on your intuition. Now, I had never tried meditation before, and my idea of what meditation is supposed to be was kind of from seeing pictures of people that sit with their legs crossed and their hands like this and their eyes shut and their that kind of thing. That's what I thought meditation was. Obviously you're supposed to empty your mind, and that's the meditating part, but that pose is how you meditate, isn't it? Or so I thought. So to get started meditating, no, I didn't quite do it this way, but sitting up in a chair, relax your body, turn off your mind. Tried it a few times. My mind just doesn't want to turn off. As soon as I can get it to be quiet, then 10 other thoughts pop into my head. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm not relaxed enough. I am just sitting in this chair. And as you can see right now, I'm not still when I'm sitting in a chair. I move around quite a bit, So I thought, all right, let's try meditating lying down. I'm pretty still, when I'm lying down getting ready for bed. Relaxed, a little too relaxed, and I started falling asleep every time. So then I thought, well, you hear about listening to music while meditating. So I thought I would try listening to some music, something that, is calming and relaxing. And that was nice until I started singing along to the words. And so that really didn't quite help either. And music without words just still allowed me to think, still thinking about things. It's just background noise, like elevator music or something. Nobody pays attention to that, right? You stand in the elevator and you think about what you're doing the next 5 minutes or 5 hours from now. So cross that off the list as well. So far, this meditation thing wasn't going quite like I thought it would. And then in one of my readings, I come across a guided meditation idea. And the idea was to memorize this little passage in the book so that when you relaxed and were ready to meditate, then you could go to that place, follow the steps. There was, a set plan on this is where you start and this is where you go next and this is the next part and then, da. So I thought, what have I got to lose? And I tried it and it worked. Having that set route to place myself in my mind was actually pretty easy for me. I think it goes back to my love of reading. One of the reasons I love to read so much is reading a book, a good book, that you're interested in, is like watching a movie inside your head. And it gets to the point where I don't even see the words on the page. I'm just watching this drama play out in my mind as I'm flipping through the pages. So for me, the guided meditation, having that story to tell myself and with myself as the lead character was pretty easy, right? I was able to follow through with it without too many, interruptions. There's still interruptions. My mind is still trying to poke through with dinner plans or errands that I have to do, and I'm not saying that you have to have a meditation practice to tap into your intuition, or that you need to meditate regularly to be a witch or practice witchcraft. This is just my experiences as I was, reading and researching and learning, since this seemed to come up quite often and I didn't feel like I was tapped into my intuition. This was my, way of testing it out, seeing if meditation could help me, tap into my intuition. And the guided meditation really did seem to work. And I'm not gonna lie, for me, it takes a while. It really does. I can't do a 5-minute meditation. I mean, I can do a 5-minute meditation, but I don't ever feel like I've gotten to that point where everything quiets a bit, in my mind. I mean, it's relaxing and I'm sure it's beneficial, but I like to get to that spot when I've made that journey and I've gotten through it not without interruption, because I always have interruptions, of course, but just coming back to that path and making it to the end. And by the time I get to that end of that path that I'm on, it's like that's when my mind finally starts quieting down, to the point that I'm able to really tune in to myself, that higher feeling, or your higher self, or your intuition voice, or your guides, or the universe. When you start to feel like you're connecting with all of that. For me, it takes a bit of a while. I have to get through my whole journey before I can feel like I'm quieted enough, I guess. it's the way to do it. That's just what works for me. I'm a bit of a take your time girl, I guess. But I get there, that's the point, I guess, right? It's not how long it takes or how many tries, it takes. It's the fact that you can get there. And I have felt that for me, meditation practice has definitely helped me with my intuition. Now, I don't think that it has made my intuition louder. I don't think that it has woken it up. Any of that. I really believe my intuition, like I said, has always been there. It's a part of you. What I think that the meditating has helped with is it has helped me remember what that voice feels like, because I'm spending a little more time quieting my mind and actively looking for that feeling, actively trying to talk to that inner version of me, right? So by doing this over and over, I am strengthening my connection with my intuition and learning how to trust it all over again. Because I think that is definitely something that happens when we spend our lives rationalizing our thinking processes. Even if you do still hear that intuition or feel those feelings from your higher self, you don't trust it as much, right? You slowly stop trusting that feeling because it's not rational. You can't explain it, so you shouldn't follow that line of thinking. Or that's the way I've been thinking, right? So, it was always there, it's just not being actively used, and so then it's hard to trust it, right? How do you know that that's that feeling you're feeling? Let me give you for instance. You meet somebody for the first time, a stranger on a bus or at the grocery store, and you strike up a conversation. And this stranger is perfectly polite, normal, everyday person, right? And during the middle of this conversation you're having about the weather or prices of groceries, you start to feel a little unnerved. Maybe you have an anxious feeling. Maybe it's a sour stomach feeling, or maybe you just don't want to be talking to that person anymore. They give you the creeps. You get goosebumps. I don't know. A million things is how your intuition can relay a feeling. Because your intuition is like an internal radar that picks up on energies all around you. And it picks up on it's super sensitive, your intuition. So it picks up on all these little energies before your mind understands what's happening or even senses anything is different. So then your intuition talks to you and lets you know something is maybe off or something is perfectly great. It can go the opposite way. You meet somebody for the first time and you immediately feel like you're going to be friends. There's no rational reason for that feeling, just like there's no rational reason for that icky feeling talking to that stranger about the weather. But it happens, right? Because your intuition is picking up on those energies around you and around the people you're around or the room you're in, all that sort of thing. So the intuition and learning how to tap into that is then going to become crucial for your practice as a witch. You want to be able to listen to yourself, in those intricate ways. You want to be able to pick up on those vibrations of a negative thing or a positive thing so that you can then decide the best course of your next step, right? When it comes to a ritual or a spell or everyday life. Learning to trust your intuition then becomes a necessary component into your decision making for everything, and definitely for your craft. And for me, taking the time to learn how to do the meditating, and then using that meditation as a way to start picking up those signals again more clearly than I had been, it's definitely helped me learn how to trust my intuition again. Because by quieting my mind even just a little bit, you start hearing that intuition a little bit louder. I mean, it's never like a loud voice. It's never a voice really for me. Anyway, it's a feeling. And it's never like an in your face shouting out, this is what you should do, this is what you don't do, danger, danger. You know, that's not really how it works for me. But having the meditation practice has helped me become more aware of all those little bits when it is talking to me, and has helped me become aware that I am definitely more connected to my intuition than I ever gave myself credit for, because I was always rationalizing away the sensations and the feelings that I got when my intuition was talking to me. Even when my intuition, I could prove that it did something right, like my feeling was warranted, then it just still became a coincidence, that I told myself that was why, that's what happened. It was a coincidence. But through the meditation and learning about and hearing about everyone in the community and all the witchcraft books that I've been reading, how intuition is an important part of your craft, really just helped me to tune back into that. Like I said, for most people, for everyone, it's always been there. It's just learning how to trust it. And honestly, that just takes time. I am not a patient person at all. I want to do everything right now. But this process has not been an instantaneous process. I mean, first it took me a little while to learn how to meditate in a way that worked for me. And then I had to relearn how to trust the intuition feelings that I was getting. And trust takes time. There's no getting around that, right? And I mean, you still use a bit of analyzing with your intuition, right? Because first you have to, get that sensation, you get that feeling, that warning, that good sensation, and then you act on it. And then later on, you can look back and kind of analyze and say, oh, well, did that work? Was I right about that person? Did that situation that I acted on intuitively, did it work out the way I thought? So analyzing is still a part of intuition. And in doing that and in analyzing it and seeing the proof, then that helps build the trust, right? Gives you something to say, I was right about that. So the next time it happens, I'm going to trust it a little more. That's the way most people think, really. That's not a big shocker. And I really feel like meditation has made that much quicker a process for me. Which is great since I am not patient. But again, it's not for everybody, and it's not a have to. It's not like with witchcraft, there's not a playbook so much. There's not a step 1 and a step 2 and a step 3, and it's very much personal and very much individual. So for me, the meditation and helping connect to my intuition was one of my first steps. It just seemed like that's where I should start. One of the starting points. I did a lot of things in the beginning because I'm not patient. And that's okay. And that's in my opinion, that's what you should do in witchcraft. Read, and read. Research, talk to people, and do it, right? It's a practice. If you're not practicing, then you're just learning information. So it's okay to be a little bit impatient and want to jump right in and do some things. And meditation was a great first-ish step for me. It definitely helped me listen a little more to myself and, recognize those little things I get, those little feelings, and over the last year and a half, I've learned to trust it more and more and more. And during my meditations, as I've gotten better, I guess it's like better, it's a practice too, huh? So as I've gotten better at meditating, better at quieting my mind, let's put it that way, I guess, my meditation has become more than just a quiet time for me. Meditation, when I get to that point when I can quiet my mind, then I actually do get to have experiences in that place. It's kind of hard to say this stuff out loud, huh? But, you get to connect with parts of yourself that you never have before. At least in my experience, I have. It's part of my meditation experiences. I have connected with parts of myself that I never had before. Able to find these gifts that are within me. It seems to come out in that quiet part of my meditations. I guess that's a good way of putting it. So I recommend giving meditation a try, especially if you do feel like you're struggling with your intuition. It definitely helped me. I still have a ways to go. This is still early days, and maybe all those books do know a thing or two about what they're talking about, and because it definitely seemed to have worked for me. And that was my experience with learning how to meditate and how it connected with my intuition. So that will be this episode for this week. And if you all have any comments or questions, please feel free to drop it down below in the comment section. Or you can find me on Facebook at Tales of a New Witch. Send me a message. I would love to chat. Any other new witches out there that would like to tell me your stories or experiences, please contact me. Absolutely would love to hear your stories. If you are enjoying this video and you'd like to see some more, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Heathen TV channel, where you can find this show and many more really awesome shows. So like and subscribe. But until next time, this was Tales of a New Witch. I'm Angie Bryant. Goodbye for now.